everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place, and if you've been following my channel for a while, you will see that I am in a different location. I am just in the process of moving, so if it is very echoey in here, I'm sorry. It's just the only thing in here is this bookcase, so I'm taking advantage of it. So I have been waiting for this book to be released forever. I was so excited for it as soon as it was announced. She is not only my favorite YouTuber, but she talks about things that I love so much, so I had to pick this up as soon as possible. It came yesterday. I started it this morning and finished about an hour ago and wrote down all my notes and got straight to talking about it. So today I am talking about The Hormone Diaries by Hannah Witton. Now, firstly, can we just talk about the front cover? I am absolutely living for it. I mean, just the front cover alone smashes so many taboos out the park. Let me show you a closer look at it. So it's called The Hormone Diaries, and then it just says the bloody truth about our periods, and it actually has red blood rather than blue, like all of the TV companies seem to think that we have. So The Hormone Diaries is her second book. She released Doing It a few years ago, which is a book all about sex and that kind of stuff, but this one is all about periods, contraception, and is a lot more aimed at people with vaginas. So The Hormone Diaries started as a YouTube series. That is actually how I originally found Hannah. It was like a series of videos about taboo topics. I remember the one about having sex on your period. That was the one that I found her from, and I was just completely hooked to the series ever since. So the book is split up into 5 sections, and there's a contents page at the beginning, which makes everything so much more accessible. So the 5 sections are periods, contraception, disorders, diseases and infections. Wow, that is hard to say. Hormones and being trans, pregnancy, and then in the conclusion there's a little bit about menopause as well. I don't know if you can hear that sound in the background, but I really hope you can't, because that is just going to kill the vibe of the video. So each section has an in-depth look at that area and has first-hand diary-like entries from Hannah herself, and then everyone that kind of got involved with the Hormone Diaries journey. I think it was online and on her blog. These are all people that got involved with the Hormone Diaries in the comment section, on social media, all things like that. I think it made it feel that much more personable and relatable to know that everyone had been through these circumstances themselves, and it wasn't just Hannah's perspective, because obviously she can't possibly have gone through everything herself. So knowing that we've seen perspectives from everyone was a really nice touch. And talking about perspectives, this was one of my favorite things about the book, is that whatever was being spoken about, there were positive perspectives and negative perspectives. And I thought it was really refreshing that something positive for one person can be seen as a negative for another. So every person's view is valid and made to feel valid, which I absolutely loved. It actually made me look at my body and kind of wonder if I'm making the right choices and kind of reevaluate where I am with my life. I have actually been on the contraceptive pill for over 10 years now, so it's been a really long time. And like Hannah says in the book, you're kind of led to believe that that is the only real contraception that you have. And then once you're on it, you feel like you can't come off of it. But I just don't know. I'm so different now at 25 than I was when I was 14 when I first went on it. And I've never given my body a break. So it really makes you look internally at what you're doing to your body and kind of see if you're making the right choices for yourself. So there's a section on miscarriage in here, which I really wasn't expecting. When I saw that there was a chapter about pregnancy, I kind of assumed that it would just be about that, because miscarriage is such a taboo topic and no one really speaks about it. So I'm so glad that there was a chapter in here about it. It's something that I've been through personally, and you never feel like how you feel internally is valid, because you have people saying, oh, well, it was so early, how can you be that upset about it? Or you have people on the opposite end saying, oh, why are you not more upset? Did you not want the baby? Did you want to kill it? And it's such a minefield. And there was a diary entry in there from someone that had written in, and it just spoke to me on so many levels, and I wanted to share it with you. Dear Miscarriage, some days I coil away in pain at the memory of you, and some days I smile with gratitude. There is no right way to feel. You've taught me the vast difference of everyone's unique experience. And that is exactly how I feel. Some days the pain cripples me that it happened, and I felt like it was all my fault and I'm to blame for my baby not being here. But then some days I'm so happy. I'd only been with my partner for a few months. It was completely unexpected. We weren't in the position to have a baby at all. And you feel like your feelings just aren't just and valid. And this just made me feel like there are people out there like me, and I loved that feeling. There was also a section about different forms of sanitary products. Now, I feel like when you start your period, you're either given tampons or pads. Well, personally, I didn't know that anything else existed until I started researching for myself, actually watching Hannah's videos, especially her menstrual cup one. So I love this book because it doesn't force anything upon you, it just shows you your options, which I feel like we need at a much earlier time in our life. The menstrual cup just doesn't sound like it's for me, but I found out about reusable cloth pads, which I thought was amazing. There's literally a whole 2-page spread on reusable pads, which again, I didn't know existed, and I will definitely be purchasing now because I'm still fearful of tampons, even though I've had periods for over a decade. But you know, being introduced to new things like cloth pads, which are so much better for the environment, just raising awareness of these things just by having a 2-page spread of it in a book is amazing. So UTIs, let's get talking about them. There's a whole section on diseases and infections, all that good stuff, or not good stuff. I have a not so funny story about my first UTI. I'd been with my husband for a few years and I'd never had anything like that in the whole time we'd been together. I knew that they were a thing, didn't really know much about them. So I started weeing a bit more for a few hours, didn't think anything of it, thought I was about to go on my period or something. And then I started getting these really intense stomach pains. The only thing I can kind of relate it to is it was similar to when I was having the miscarriage, and I went to the toilet and there was blood, and I started to really freak out because I thought, oh my god, this is happening again. I can't believe I'm having another miscarriage and I didn't even know. And I was freaking out so much because I didn't even know the symptoms of UTIs or how bad that they could get. I ended up ringing 111, which is the UK non-emergency line, just to see what you should do. And they told me that it sounded like a UTI, and I was absolutely mortified. I mean, I had to go to hospital to get antibiotics as soon as possible because it was a really severe infection. But I was so embarrassed that I didn't know about this, and that no one really knows about these things, and you have to experience them, and for it to get that bad, for you to suddenly be like, oh, this is a UTI, which is extremely common and almost every woman has them in their life. So there's a whole section about common infections like those, which I think is fantastic. I feel like every school should have this book in their library so you can just dip in and out of it and you don't need to feel embarrassed. There's the whole contents page, which you can just flip to whatever you need and put it back in 5 minutes if that's what you need. There's just so much information in here that needs to be taught in schools. I am a person that is very fearful of going to the doctor about anything related to periods or sex, contraception, anything like that. But there was a quote that I read in this and it just made me think a lot, so here we go. Maybe you can relate to some of the stories in this chapter. Maybe you've learned something, or maybe you have another condition that most people have never heard of. Maybe you're building up the courage to go to the doctors after months or years of the same nagging symptoms you don't think are a normal part of being a woman. Maybe you've been to the doctors and you're still waiting for a correct diagnosis. Whatever your situation, I think we can all agree that it can be a bit confusing. Where is the line between normal and probably should go to the doctor? No two people are the same, but I hope it's been helpful to hear other people's stories to relate to and find comfort. And I think that's the purpose of this book, to know that you are not alone in whatever you're experiencing, even if it's something really rare. There are people out there like you, and there are so many stories in here to support that. In the trans section, there's a long letter in there from someone called Candice in Australia, and I was going to read it out, but I feel like you should go out and read this book yourself because that story touched my heart and I was bawling when I was reading it. So if you're reading this now or you want to go and read it, look out in the Being Trans chapter for Candice's letter because it is gorgeous. As I say, I read Doing It a few years ago and I did really enjoy it, but I feel like this book is so much better written. I feel like Hannah's writing style has really grown and changed. One thing that I did like is the format is very, very similar to how Doing It was styled. So there's a lot going on the pages, it's really funky, it's not just set out in block paragraphs, there's a lot of things to keep you engaged and keep your mind ticking over and kind of regains your attention, which I loved. I wouldn't really say there's a particular age range where this book is suitable for. I feel like if you're a bleeder, which is someone that has a period, this book is for you. I think it was just the right amount of seriousness with a little bit of humour. Some parts can be quite heavy, especially the parts about abortion, miscarriage, but there's just the right amount of comedy laced throughout the book, which really makes you laugh and cry and just feel every kind of emotion. As I say, there is so much discussed in this, especially things like contraception. As I say, I didn't know that there was any real contraception apart from the pill when I was growing up. I do now, and I'm so scared to come off it, but I want to come off it, and this book has kind of solidified that to me. Not because there was all bad experiences of being on the pill on there. As I say, everything had good and bad things about it, just so you could get the big picture of everything. I will let you know how that goes. I would 100% recommend this book for any bleeder in your life. And to be honest, if you have a penis, go out and get it too, because you need to educate yourselves just as much as we do. It is fan-blimmin-tastic, and thank you, Hannah, for writing another amazing informative book, which I'm sure will help thousands of people. The Hormone Diaries is out now, so make sure you go and pick up a copy. I got mine for £7 on Amazon, which was a steal, so go and pick up your copy. If you like this video, don't forget to leave it a like or a comment, maybe even subscribe. You can turn the notification bell on, which will keep you notified when I upload new videos, which is usually every Tuesday and every Saturday. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you!